Welcome. We are going to study the polygen theory and quantitative inheritance for the BSc Part 3, Theory Paper 9, Genetics and Plant Breeding, Unit number 2, of which this is the subunit 2.3, Polygen Theory and Quantitative Inheritance. So before going to the polygen theory and quantitative inheritance, we should know some basic terminologies which are being used in the genetics, and of which the first and the foremost important term is gene. Okay, so basically the gene is the fundamental and functional unit of the heredity. That means whatever the characters are transmitted from one generation to the another generation or to the next generation are transmitted by the means of genes itself. Okay, so what is gene? Gene is nothing but a small segment of the DNA which composed of a transcribed region and regulatory sequences. Then next is the allele, or it again called as an allelomorph. So one of the two or more forms that can exist at a single gene locus. Okay, so on the homologous chromosomes at the same locus, more than two forms of the gene or more than one form of the genes are there, called as alleles or allelomorphs. Okay. Then non-allelic gene is the allele at different position of a chromosome loci, but affect one gene over the other, affect one gene over the other in different way of interaction. Then phenotype. The phenotype is the physical or the morphological appearance, or it's a character of an individual which dependent on the genetic makeup. So for example, the tall or the dwarf or the wild types albino, these are some of the phenotypes which are we generally studied in the genetics. Then genotype. Each phenotype, for example, tall, dwarf, short, or the color albino or colored, these are the phenotypes which are symbolically represented, or the genetic makeup of these phenotypes are the genotypes. The genetic makeup or constitution of an individual with reference to the trait under consideration, usually expressed as symbols. For example, for tall phenotype, Mendel symbolized that tall phenotype as capital D and capital D for the genotypes. Okay, so then inheritance. Inheritance is the process by which genetic information is passed from parent generation to the offspring generation, or from one generation to the another generation. Is nothing but the inheritance. Then quantitative inheritance. Quantitative inheritance is a genetic term which is defined as the combined result when many factors combine to result in a distinctive trait. So the trait is nothing but we are going to see the next definition about the trait. Whatever the trait, a single trait is an activity, or is expressed, or is passes from one generation to the another generation with not a single gene or with not a single gene. It's an activity of many genes. Then it is passed from one generation to the another generation, called as quantitative inheritance. Then a phenotypic trait. It's simply a trait or a character trait is distinct variant of phenotypic characteristics of an organism. It may be either inherited or determined environmentally. Okay, some of the traits are influenced by the habitat, or we call it a surrounding environment. Okay, for example, if we consider eye color as a character or a character of an organism, then the shades of the eye color are nothing but the traits. Or another example we can take simply, if hair taken as a character. Okay, so the color of hair or hair is taken as a character, then the straight hairs or the curly hairs are nothing but the traits of that particular character, or we called it as a character trait. The central dogma of our life is nothing but the DNA the DNA is transcribed to the RNA. We know the mRNA, rRNA or tRNA, and that RNA is further translocated or translated into the proteins. And the expression of gene we always express in terms of that the gene is being expressed. The function of the gene is nothing but the formation of one kind of protein. So this is what the central dogma of our life, and the whole life process is working on this particular reaction. That's why we call it as a central dogma of the life. So we move towards our main topic, quantitative inheritance. So the phenotypic traits of the different organisms may be of two kinds. Okay, so there are two kinds of specific kinds of the phenotypic traits, that are qualitative traits and quantitative traits. The qualitative traits are the traits which cannot be measured in terms of metrics, or we cannot express the measured in terms of the numbers, whereas the quantitative traits can be measured in terms of the numbers. The qualitative traits are the classical Mendelian traits. Okay, so the classical Mendelian traits of its own kind, like round seals or wrinkle seals, then the horned cows or hornless cows, the pigments like black or white coat color of the Guinea pigs. These are nothing but the qualitative traits, whereas the quantitative traits are the traits which are economically important, measurable phenotypic trait, such as height of the plant, then weight of the seeds, shape of the seeds, then some metabolic activities or the reproductive rate. Such traits are called as quantitative traits, which we can measure in terms of some numbers. Okay, so this is what the quantitative traits. The economically important traits such as body weight gain, mature plant height, egg or milk production records, yield of grain per acre, etc. are also the quantitative traits. Okay, so these traits we can measure. Majoritarily, quantitative inheritance or quantitative traits are very much important in crop plants. That's why that's what we are looking out for this. The quantitative traits are also called as metric traits, because we can measure them in terms of some figures, some numbers. That's why they are again called as the metric traits. They do not show a clear-cut differences between the individual and forms. Okay, a spectrum of phenotypes which blend imperceptivity from one type to another to cause continuous variation. The quantitative traits may be modified variously by the environment. The quantitative traits are the traits which are very much influenced by the environment. For example, if a drought conditions are being happened, then the yield of the crop plant is reduces, or if a high temperature stress is there, or within the temperature of the environment where the plant where the crop is there is increased, then definitely the yield of the crop plant will definitely be hampered. Okay, so that's why the qualitative traits are very much modified modified variously by means of the environmental conditions. The genes which are non-allelic and affect the phenotype of a single qualitative traits are called as polygene or cumulative genes. Okay, the inheritance of polygenes or quantitative traits is called as quantitative inheritance. It is again called as multiple factor inheritance or multiple gene inheritance, and some as the many genes or the effect of a combined effect of the many genes are there, that's why it's called as a polygenic inheritance. Then this is what a polygene theory, multiple factor hypothesis. Two or more different pairs of alleles with presumed cumulative effect govern the qualitative trait. For example, if we consider a yield of a crop plant, particularly if it is a grain of the crop plant, then there are some different phenotypic characters. For example, the yield of grain or the crop plant or cereal crops, important parameter is the size of the grain, length of the grain, mass of the grain, And again a color of the grain which is being which is the single trait is is expressed by the means of a single gene, and all that characters which are required or which are carrying that particular phenotype are the activity of that particular all the characters are governed by different kinds of genes, and a synchronized activity of the gene is there. That's what the cumulative effect of all that genes which are responsible for a particular character state are transmitted from one generation to the next generation. That's why it's a quantitative trait, a gene individually exerting a slight effect. Okay, so whatever the genes are contributing to that particular character, okay, so number of genes are there, and each gene is individually exerting a slight effect. Okay, so we cannot find the effect of that particular gene by the means of Mendelian inheritance. That's why we cannot calculate that the effect of that particular gene by the means of Mendelian inheritance, but we can have stress the activity of each individual gene by the statistical methods. So the multiple genes had some characteristics. So each contributing allele in the series of multiple gene produces an equal effect. Okay, so the number of genes are there, all genes contributing a slight effect to a phenotypic trait or that quantitative trait. So each contributing allele has an equal effect for that particular inheritance. The effect of each contributing allele are cumulative. Here we are not the effect of each and every gene is a combined effect or a cumulative effect or the additive effect. So activity of one gene adds one parameter, activity of another gene adds another parameter, activity of or the expression of third gene adding the another parameter or another character, another trait. Okay, so all the cumulative activity of all the genes are contributing to the particular quantitative trait or particular phenotypic trait. There is no dominance. Okay, so likewise whatever we are looking in the Mendelian genetics, law of dominance is there. Such kind of dominance is not there. Rather, there is exists a pair of contributing and non-contributing alleles. Okay, so some alleles are contributing to that phenotypic trait or that quantitative trait, or while some are not there. And all the contributing alleles are not present at a single locus or same locus. They are distributing throughout the whole genome. Okay, so throughout the whole genome and at different locus on the different chromosomes. There is no epistasis that a single gene is or one gene is not masking the activity of the another gene. There is no linkage involved. The environmental conditions have considerable effect on the phenotypic expression. The genotypes determines the range of individuals will occupy with regard to a given quantitative characters. That's what environment determines the point within the genetically determined range at which an individual's measurements will fall. Okay. So we will look the classical example for this quantitative trait is the kernel color in wheat. So kernel is nothing but the grain of a cereal crop or cereal plant. A whole grain or a seed of a cereal plant is known as the kernel. The cereal crops such as corn, wheat, barley, etc. are the seeds of that particular crops are referred as kernel. Okay, so kernel color in wheat is a quantitative trait. So the kernel color of the wheat is carried or a combined effect of many genes. Okay, so it is first time studied by a Swedish geneticist called Nilsson L for the first time in 1908. When he proposed, when he crossed two different strains of the wheat, one is red strain, which is crossed with a white strain. Okay, so then he observed the F1, all F1, whatever he found were light red in color. and when he observed for the F2 generation was an extreme as the parents. So that means whatever the 1:16 was white and 1:16 was red. Then he interpreted these results in terms of two genes, each with a pair of alleles existing a cumulative or exhibiting a cumulative effect. Okay, so this is what the first trend, which was red kernel color, and another one is with the white kernel color, and the genotype for red kernel color is R1, capital R1, capital R1, capital R2, capital R2, and the white kernel color is the genotype of that phenotype is small r1, small r1, small r2, small r2. Okay, so overall, then in F1 generation, he found that all the individuals were light red in color, where the genotypes are capital R1, small r1, capital R2, small r2. If he further extend the experiment to F2 generation, then he found a different kind of ratio, where he found a range of the different colors, like one individual was red in color, 4 individuals were medium red in color, 6 individuals were light red in color, 4 individuals were very light color, and 1 individual was white in color. Okay, so whatever the phenotypic ratio for red is 1:16 and for white is 1:16 in F2 generation. Okay, if we plot the given results in a histogram, then we can have a clear cut picture, where he had a red strain and a white strain. If he then when he crossed both the strains in F1 generation, he found all the individuals were light red in color, and in F2 generation he found a series of colors from dark red, faint red, light red, very light red, and white color. Okay, so at this stage, one point should be clear, that in case 15:1 ratio that we are found, later on when certain other strains of wheat with dark red kernels were crossed with white, exhibited an F1 phenotype intermediate between both the parents. Okay, so in this case, the F1 is probably segregating for 3 pairs of genes, and only the genotype R1, small r1, small r1, R2, and small r3 produces the white kernel color. So there are 7 classes of genotypes, as we earlier said, and if we for the expansion of this particular phenotypic ratio, if we used Pascal triangle, then we can have the binomial expression or binomial expansion, where this is what formula is there, mathematical formula, and if we use the number of contributing allele, then we can have a phenotypic ratio as 1:1. If 2 alleles are contributing to particular character, then we'll have 1:2:1 ratio. If the contributing alleles are 3, then we can have the ratio 1:3:3:1, and if we continue with this, then we can have the expansion of this particular traits for number of alleles contributing to that particular trait, phenotypic trait. Then we can have different ratios. Okay, so thank you.